Rudy Gobert is going to be the reason the Jazz don't win championships because he will get exposed. And so what I think you're going to see is exactly what France did. What did France do? France pulled him off the floor.
For a long time.
For a long time. And why did they do that? Because when they had Rudy on the floor, what was France doing? Trying to feed him the ball. And what did that do? It slowed the game down, and he was missing half his free throws. And they weren't shooting three-pointers. How does France win game? Well, if they're going to win the gold medal, they got to make a ton of three-pointers. And they weren't even shooting three-pointers because they were feeding the ball to Rudy Gobert.
So wait, are we noticing some similarities here?
Yes.
How do the Jazz win games?
Yeah, the Jazz win games by shooting threes.
And they don't feature Rudy.
They don't at all.
So the free throw thing is never talked about.
Correct. And so what happens? Well, when the Jazz shoot threes, what does the other team try to do? Well, they're just going to plot and methodically run half-court offense in the playoffs and really leverage Rudy Gobert out of the middle of the paint, and you're going to start seeing them drive to the basket. So the Jazz have to play zone. So what happens? It's awkward to play zone when, Bojan Bagsnatchevic is your best perimeter defender. When Bojan Bogdanovic is your best perimeter defender, he's not athletic enough to get back to the line.
Bojan.
So you wind up giving up open three. Like, Rudy Gobert is a real limitation for you. And that's why I think Hassan Whiteside was such an important pickup.
Yep.
Because now you can play multiple different ways. And, the other thing that I want to talk about with the Jazz as well is that let's not get so fired up about, oh my God, did you see Udoka? He was dunking on everybody at SLC Summer League. Well, who is everybody? It's SLC Summer League. Okay, he played great there. Give him credit. Trent Forrest, who I think is the most important player for the Jazz this summer, hands down, no conversation. Trent Forrest has to develop into a rotational point guard for the Utah Jazz right now today, right? My point is, okay, you did well against your B team. Everybody was, and again, I know it's Jazz media and they're not objective and their job is to slurp the Jazz. We get it. But watching Jazz media, oh my God, Udoka with the dunk. Oh, the throwdown. Guy, he's literally playing a JV team. He is an NBA player against JV players. Okay, great. He did well in SLC. Let's go to Las Vegas now and do well. And then once you do well in Las Vegas, let's go to training camp and do well. And then once you go to training camp, go to preseason and regular season, and then show us that you belong. Because if I had to ask you right now, how many minutes a game does Udoka Azubuike get for the Jazz?
5?
Maybe. Is he not a garbage time player at this moment with Hassan Whiteside being here? Can't tell me Udoka is going to outplay Hassan Whiteside. I mean, you paid that guy. You paid Hassan Whiteside big money.
Yep.
And so my point is, yes, it's going to be nice to develop him, but Trent Forrest becomes a really important player because you really don't have proven depth behind Mike Conley. And I think we all know.
We've all had this conversation.
Water's wet and Mike Conley's going to be hurt. And so you've now got to find somebody to play behind him. And we're gonna figure out
who that is.
Who that is.
Yep.
Absolutely. So my point is, in all of this, Kevin Durant's the best player in the world. He led the best team in the world to a gold medal. He's the best player on the best team in the world. And I just am not going to sit here and knock him because they didn't have their best players playing for Team USA. If he doesn't play well, they don't win.
Nope.
Period.
Nope.
Who is the 5 best centers in the NBA? For me, Rudy is third, Fonseca says.
I don't even think it's 5 deep, to be honest with you. I think it's like 3 deep. I think it's
Who would that
Jokic
even
and
be?
Embiid. I think.
Well, is Giannis a center?
Yeah. I mean, I guess.
I don't think he is. I think he's a 4 because you have Lopez there.
Yeah. I mean, that's why we don't do 4s and 5s anymore. That's why I don't like to do the 4 and 5 thing.
I would agree with that.
We don't have 5s and 4s and anything. You've got your bigs and you've got everybody else. So, like, to me, it should be phrased, best big. I mean, yeah, Giannis has to be in the conversation, but there's a reason Jokic was the MVP, and that's because he can shoot and he can do a lot for you.
I think Jokic, Anthony Davis. I mean, Embiid's just always hurt.
He is, yeah. He is.
It's really hard to pick Embiid because he is always injured.
Yeah. Where's Karl Anthony Towns on this list?
playing in Minnesota.
Yeah, that's his problem.
You know, like I think I don't know whatever happens to Karl Anthony Towns.
He's got to get somewhere legit. That's the problem.
I mean, they've tried everybody with him, and I mean, he's a good player, and clearly he's, you know, tapping all kinds of ass, as his sex scandal showed. I don't know why I bring that up, just because it's sensitive.
Just so you can go to Pound Town.
You know, he's a really good player that I just think is going to be mediocre until he gets out of there.
Yeah.
You know, like, but other than that, I mean, if I look around the NBA, I mean, you don't really have a big in Brooklyn. You don't really have a big in with the Knicks. I mean,
I would
Julius
not call
Randle's
Julius
a 3.
big. Yeah, I wouldn't call him a big.
No, he's a 3,
Yeah,
right?
Yeah.
You know,
I don't know, man. I think a lot of people want to put Rudy in the best big conversation.
Bam Adebayo, sweet little jumper right
and
now.
he's a champion.
Sweet little jumper.
Yeah, I don't know. To me, he's not in the best big conversation. Like, yes, he's a great player, but I don't put him up there with the best of them. I think, you know, to me, it takes more than winning individual awards, right? You have to be an elite big in the league. You have to be a center point of offense and defense and basically everything that your team does. So, like with the Nuggets and Jokic, he is the team. I mean, they run their offense through
He's the
Nikola
straw,
Jokic, you know. So especially when Murray went down. So I look at the Jazz and I look at Rudy and I say he is not their offense. He is not the straw that stirs the drink. That's Donovan, you know. So that's why I say at the end of the day, yeah, the defensive player of the year is cool. And he is a hell of a defender. There's no question about that. I mean, you know, his perimeter defense was on display. You know, his rim protection was on display. But at the end of the day, he's not what decides games for you. And I just feel like Jokic and Embiid decide games. I mean, let's look no further than the ass kicking that Joel Embiid gave Rudy Gobert when they played.
Well, and I also think the thing that we always talk about with Rudy on this show when it comes to his offense is for Rudy Gobert to have really big games, the Jazz have to miss threes.
Mm-hmm.
They take a lot of threes. He's an offensive rebounding machine when they miss, but if they're missing threes, that's not really good for their offense because this team doesn't win unless they're hitting threes, but he doesn't have truly big games because they're not going to feed him the ball. And I think the other thing we saw in the gold medal game is when Team USA forced him to put the ball on the ground, life was much more difficult.
Yep.
So, and the other thing is what I thought was interesting, and we were tweeting about this, is Rudy was using that behind-the-back hook to clear space to catch the ball, which is an offensive foul in the NBA. By the way, how about that? Is Draymond Green a big? I think you got to put him in that conversation.
I think you got to throw him in the big category just because that's where he plays. I mean, that's what he does for his team.
He's a 4-5, no doubt about it.
Know.
How about that play where he knocked the free throw off the rim? That turned out to be a
very heady play.
It turned out to be a massive play because Dame missed those 2 free throws.
Yeah, I mean, it's understanding the rules, you know, and that's what I appreciate about guys like Draymond or any of these other dudes, understanding the rules in FIBA competitions versus the NBA. It's 2 totally different games. And I just think that overall, you know, what you were getting to here with Rudy and his antics in the paint during this tournament, like, you know, at the end of the day, they let that stuff go on in the paint. And I even got frustrated at one point watching Team USA because I felt like, why would you, if you know that that's going to be France's strategy, they're gonna try to feed Rudy the ball in, you know, with the mismatch, why would you not get your money's worth on all the fouls?
Yes.
And this is what I maintain in the league and in FIBA. Why would you not? You know, because there's a way. Every person who plays basketball or who has played it at all understands there's a way to commit a hard foul without getting teed up.
Yes.
You can get your money's worth and send a message without getting a technical. And that's what I just don't understand. I don't know why you wouldn't punish Rudy or any big, whether it's Jokic, Embiid, whoever. Punish these guys. Make it so they don't think it's just going to be some easy task getting to the rim.
Good old Ron Sapochnik.
Yeah.
The coach with the most.
Right.
Round Lake Senior High School.
Yeah.
He had a rule that if you were going to foul a guy on the block, and his arms got over his shoulders, it was not going to go well.
Fire and fury.
He had 2 rules. If you can catch the ball, you can play for me. If you're going to foul a guy on the block, you better not get a layup.
I'll drop that mother.
Yeah, dude. And that's why, well, you play with me all the time. You do not want me to foul you because I don't commit light fouls. Like I'm a big believer in leaving my fingerprints on your forearm if I'm going to foul you.
Yes.
So, and if you're a little guard running at me, I'm a big believer in just wrapping you up or knocking you over.
I will downsize your face with a shovel!
And I have done that in basketball. There's no doubt about that. Anyway, before we get out of this conversation, you got to pick one. Best big in the NBA is?
Jokic.
I'm going Anthony Davis.
Okay.
The only thing that worries me about Anthony Davis is his groin routinely falls off.
Yeah, and that's going to be a big thing this year too, health-wise, like Embiid, Davis,
How about Royce O'Neal?
Yeah.
Working with David Alexander.
Yeah.
Like the body mechanic, body guru.
That's if you're a Jazz fan, you should be very happy about that. I think this year, it's with these additions, obviously Royce's role has always been secondary, but I think that there's going to be a lot of times when he's on the floor with, let's say Rudy Gay or when Hassan's on the floor where he's not going to get switched into these weird matchups. And I think he understands that, and I think he understands he's got an opportunity to have a great year defensively. And so he understands he's got to stay healthy to do that, and that's why he's there, and I'm happy to see it.
Yeah, I always get jazzed about that.
Did you see what he did there? So he
always
so get jazzed about a guy who plays for the Jazz. You see what he did there?
I mean, my brilliance is so much to the point that I didn't even try to do that. And
Having fun is the name of the game.
it just happened.
Yeah. Hey, listen, man.
I mean, it's who I am. Anyway, I get excited when I see guys working out with the Brickleys of the world, and that's why I'm telling you, everybody that's ripping the Lakers for being old. I see Carmelo Anthony working with David Alexander, working with Chris Brickley over here.
A lot.
Like you're seeing a lot of guys on that Laker roster.
Donovan's working with Brickley.
Yeah, well, Donovan's always been a Brickley guy. Donovan works with David Alexander.
Yeah.
Like working on dexterity and flexibility and connective tissue. And
Elijah Hughes.
I'm telling you right now that the guys that David Alexander and Chris Brickley train in particular, and Chris Johnson hoops a little bit as well, but Chris Brickley and David Alexander don't train secondary guys. When LeBron and Wade were winning championships in Miami, David Alexander was their guy. David Alexander's the guy that LeBron paid millions of dollars to. And it is, if you don't follow him on Instagram, you're crazy. You should follow him. But to see Royce O'Neal there was quite surprising. And it tells you the level of commitment that guys don't want to leave the Jazz. That's a good organization where you're going to win games.
Yeah.
And I think that's why Royce O'Neal is doing what he's doing. But, it is what it is. So best center in the NBA, I want to say it's Anthony Davis. Best big in the NBA.
Yeah.
He's got to stay healthy. It's Jokic or Davis for me. I know that Davis can stay healthy. He just hasn't. Joel Embiid cannot stay healthy. Never has, never will.
Yeah.
So, and he's had some heartbreaking losses. By the way, why hasn't Ben Simmons been traded yet?
Don't know.
I'm waiting for that,
Yeah,
too.
I mean, at some point. I mean, he said he wanted to be a Warrior, but who the hell knows?
Another guy that's putting a lot of work into the gym. Do you buy this left-handed thing with Ben Simmons? That he's actually
Dude, if it's true, it's one of the stupidest things I've ever heard of an NBA player doing. I mean, he's actually right-handed, but he shoots a basketball left-handed. Who the hell does that? Who does that? What kind of sense does that make?
What do you use your left hand for in this world unless you're looking for some strange? Like, I don't even know why he would do that.
I don't know, dude.
And that's a serious, true story. He's right-handed with everything. Just ask the Kardashian girls. Probably too much right there.
Wow.
Anyway, the point is he's
Their
right-handed.
juices is not all over the place.
That's what I'm saying. He's not right. He's right-handed with everything, but he shoots a basketball left-handed. You figure it out.